Let's see. We're live on YouTube. Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, Twitch. Three, two, one. Live on Facebook. Good evening, Facebook. Let's see, last but not least.
Yeah, I definitely want to turn my key light on. That's dark.
HOP. Everyone on. What's the problem here? Okay. Live on X. 3, 2. Create broadcast on X. 3, 2. What happened here? Create broadcast on X. 3, 2. What happened here? Okay. 3, 2. Post. 3, 2. Okay. Okay, top.
You noticed, and you're wearing white today. You're off your normal color scheme. What the fuck? You're not wearing your typical black sleeve shirt that you normally wear. Oh shit. Oh shit.
It's the seasons are changing. That's funny. You noticed that.
You see that, Echo? Not wearing his signature black shirt.
Right,
You're like Andrew Hubbard. You're like Andrew fucking Huberman, man. Always in his fucking black long sleeve shirt.
That's right. That's right.
Like his fucking. That is the one shirt he wears every time.
That's his uniform, bro.
That's his uniform. Boom. He doesn't deviate from that at all.
All right.
That's right. Universe is going. I'm on tonight. He's going casual tonight.
Here, let me play the opening track. I'll see you in 2 minutes.
You think about a closing tripod.
What up, Big Money?
Set your body free. And I don't care what's going on in the night outside midnight healing. Oh, I just wanna make love to you all night long. Midnight healing, baby. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about now.
Okay. What up, Huda? What up, Big Money? I see you guys out there. Let me make sure everything's running. We're good everywhere. We're good everywhere. All right. Bring this guy wide. Okay, good, good. All right, let's go. Let's get it started. All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Happy Monday. Just gonna do a quick audio check. Audio sounds good. Okay. I've gone rogue. I've gone to the white side. Spring is upon us. Okay, let's make sure everything's right. All right, we're good. Make sure everything's clear. Yeah. Okay. Let me make sure everything's clear and working. Come on. All right. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the show. Monday night. How's everybody doing out there? Our guest tonight, this guest is he is no stranger when it comes to HOP. One of the first guests when we moved to X and opened up everywhere. Was one of the first people to join HOP, helped HOP by putting together a computer, and he has been part of the show all along the way. So tonight he is back with his IsoPets project. We're going to talk about that. I think he's ready to go. Lots to talk about. He has a project on hand. So without further ado, let's bring Josh on. Let's get him in here. All right, there he is. There. Okay. And then hang on. Double screen. Good. Okay. All right. Josh, say hello to everybody.
What up, everybody? Let's go.
Okay.
Let's do this show.
Let's get going. Not that we're straight down the business tonight. Okay, so Josh, maybe give everybody. We're not going to give them a brief update. We're going to give them a brief history of who you are.
Brief history. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, you got to give them a brief history. So you got to give them a combination of all three shows. If they haven't have a chance to catch up with you with the other shows that you were on, you got to let them know. So tell everybody a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to get into this project and what exactly is IsoPets. So go ahead, man. Take it from there.
What's up, everybody? I'm Josh. That's Mark. And I am, well, long story short, I'm an advertising agency owner and an IT firm owner, do product design, ad marketing, all that good stuff, and also a bunch of IT work. But I also have a few other companies, which we've talked about on the show, which is Fellowship for Animals, Stark Pen Company, which I make pens like this, which I don't know if we ever showed. So very nice high-end pens. I've got a furniture company where I make nice high-end luxury furniture. So I've got a couple other ventures that are in the ovens that I work on as well. But my main job is an ad agency, product designer, an IT firm, and all that kind of good stuff. So in a nutshell, I've been doing this for almost 30 years now, and winding that business down and shifting more over to the IsoPets and Fellowship for Animals projects and working on those a lot more. And I still do my furniture and all that stuff, but my main focus lately is getting the animal shelter done and working on IsoPets and all the brand and marketing and the product design, intellectual property, and all that good stuff for it.
Okay, so interesting, right? Last time you were on the show,
And I forgot what was what did we talk about on the last show? I forgot.
Well. The first time you were on, we spoke about IsoPets and the pet shelter. That was your
Yeah, that's right. I was
introduction.
on the first show. Yeah.
The second time you were on, we talked about your pens and
Pens,
furniture.
That's right.
And then the third time you were on, we did the trilogy. We talked about the day trading.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We did a show on trading options, trading in the stock market and options. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, we never talked about my main business at all or anything. What I do like with advertising and design and stuff. Okay, caught up, good to go.
So yeah, I think we probably touched on that during the beginning of the second show.
Man, maybe just a touch bit, but we've never actually gone over like what I do for like my actual main job that I do done for almost 30 years for clientele and film, visual effects, and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know. I don't think we never.
Yeah, we've never done that. We've never done that. I'm pretty positive.
We didn't go hard. No. Should we do a show like that?
Yes, but I have to be the last show will be about what I actually do for the last 30 years, my actual career.
Okay, so that's going to be the big closer, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
So last time, the show we spoke about the why don't you give them not an update, right? But give them a little bit about the shelter project that you've been putting together, and refresh their memory. If you guys want to see more, there's a whole show about this, but we're just going to refresh your memory right now. So speak about this project.
Yeah, so that's IsoPets is an offshoot of the main project, which is Fellowship for Animals. And Fellowship for Animals, I've been working on for the last 7 or so years, which is essentially going to be the most advanced animal shelter ever built on planet Earth. True story. There's a lot of engineering that I'm doing in this stuff that doesn't exist. And for a good 6 years, I spent analyzing, working in the trenches, as they say in crypto, on just the shelter systems, how they operate, talking to all the different shelters in the country. What are their problems? If they had unlimited money, what would they do? And things like that. And just assembling just a barrage of all of the problems in the space and how can we attack that and build literally the ultimate shelter that handles all of this stuff. And so with that main project, which is going to be breaking ground hopefully in the next year or so, hopefully not in 2 years, but hopefully in the next year or so, that's going to have, I needed 2 main things that I wanted to drive with the animal shelter, with that project, which was number one, not relying on donations, which is, fine, people can donate if they want to, but really being able to bring our own revenue in to drive the shelter. Because that's like, if you ever work in the animal shelter space, and work on the nonprofit side, not like volunteering, but work on the business side of it, you'll realize that animal shelters run heavily on donations, and there's very few in this country, a handful of them, that have massive donor bases of very wealthy people, like in California and Austin, Texas, where you've got people that donate massive amounts where they have large budgets to work with. Most of these shelters are working on shoestring budgets. They're relying on donations. And just that's something I really wanted to avoid with this whole thing. And so building products to sell to the general public was one of the biggest things I wanted to accomplish with that. And so that's with the 2 things. There's actually 3 things involved in that. One is IsoPets, which is going to be, which we'll talk about tonight. The other is Echo Pet Tracker, which is the most advanced pet tracking system ever made. That's a really cool system that's going to come out very soon. And then the other one is, let's see, IsoPets Fellowship. Let's see, IsoPets, Echo Pet Tracker. What was the other thing that we're doing on the? We have a modular system, and designed and developed a modular system for kennels that you can interlink and sell to other shelters that are built in. Because one of the biggest problems in shelters is the amount of time that it takes to wash and clean kennels for dogs and cats and all this stuff. So I built this modular design. There's also a modular system for the dog cages that interlink with each other, and then that hook up to automated to water lines where everything's automated. So it's you just hook them in, everything's good to go. You don't have to build this stuff from scratch. The whole system's interlinked with each other. So those are the big products that we'll turn around and sell to others to generate revenue for the animal shelter itself. And that's what is driving the IsoPets brand, which is what I'm working on. And the IsoPets brand, just before we get into detail about it, is basically how are you getting people involved? How do you get the general public involved with wanting to help in the animal shelter space? Because depending, at least in where I live, Baton Rouge, like the shelter system that existed before we got involved with this a few years ago, which you have is typically just your animal control, the city animal control. And most of those shelters are like pretty run down. They're not very like high. They're not conducive to wanting to bring people in to want to volunteer with them. You know, they're pretty depressing. Let's just put it that way, mildly, in some of these places. And so it's like, how do you change that and get people, to want to come, number one, spend their time, two, work with the animals, help them find new homes. And then secondly, the biggest driver is how do you get the younger generation, how do you get kids involved with it? Because the thing is, it's like, you can get the kids involved with it, they're going to get their parents involved with it because the kids will bug the parents and the parents can be the ones bringing their kids over. So, that's the demographic you want to capture. And most importantly, you want to get people while they're young, involved in the system so that as they grow older, they stay involved in it, and that is what the main driver of what IsoPets is essentially.
So, question, what makes, interesting, right? What makes you such a cat expert?
Okay, well, I've been around cats for my entire life for the most part. But I've been I got 9 cats. So I've been living with a lot of cats for quite a few years now and just analyzing their behavior, working in shelters. It's like anything else. It's like time around the cats. The biggest thing that I've ever found with cats, because I was not a cat person growing up. I still had cats growing up, but I had a German Shepherd, which was like my favorite dog, which was my dog. And like, I spent all my time with my dog basically. And so when I was married, that's when my wife had a cat. She was all into like saving cats. And so I was like, when I was living with her my freshman year of LSU, I was working in IT. And so, but I was working from home all the time. And so I was just sitting around the house with this black cat that she had all the time. And so like, you really have to be around, because most people are not cat people, and I understand the psychology behind it because now that I've done research and looked into the psychology and studies that people have done, because there's like a Japanese guy, I forgot his name, that have done insane amount of studies on cat behavior, human interaction with cats. And it's just, I understand why most people are not like typically drawn toward cats. You really have to be around them for a little while before you're like, okay, I kind of see what these animals are about. Because at first, from the basic psychology standpoint of just how the human brain works, people think, and they've shown this in studies, people think that dogs, when they're looking at you with their tongue out, the way their muscles in their mouth are, it makes them look like they're smiling. And so from the human brain standpoint, it immediately draws people toward that. Be like, oh, look, the dog is friendly. He's smiling at you. The dog isn't smiling. That's just what the natural dog face looks like. In cats, they don't have that muscle. Their face doesn't look like that. They don't have a smile necessarily that looks like a dog's, so from the psychology standpoint, people, and on top of that, cats usually are not running up to you. Cats are running away from you. They get, if they don't know you, they'll scatter off. And so people are not like, the average person isn't just drawn toward them because they're like, oh, you see a cat and you're like, freaking cat, you may not hate the cats, but you're not a huge fan of the cat, let's say necessarily. And so it's an interesting psychology behind why people are not huge cat, humans are not big cat people, and so it really has, and a lot of that psychology comes down to what I was explaining about just the reflexes in their muscles and how their behavior is. And cats just don't give a shit. Cats are like, whatever, and so humans want that affection like dogs to run up to them. But the thing is that if you're around cats long enough and you establish a good, just like with any animal, you see people with pet raccoons and pet possums and pet freaking ferrets and they're pet squirrels, and like the squirrels are freaking hanging on their shoulders. The raccoons are climbing on their heads. I mean, you can have a relationship with any animal basically out there, if you're around them long enough. And that's really what it takes with cats. It just takes time to be around them and build a bond and a relationship with them. And then once you do that, you realize, shit, these animals are just as, my cats are just like dogs. If I call them, they come over to me. They'll come jump in my lap, just like my dogs will do the same thing. So that's the big thing I've found just over the years with cats, working with them, and so that's another good thing to where doing something like IsoPets, even though it's dogs and cats, it'll help hopefully get the general public more aware about cats. And that's the other thing. You have feral cats everywhere. There's not as many feral dogs all over the place. So cats are just more seen as more of a societal problem, I guess, than dogs in general are.
Okay. Cats are shady.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good way to sum it up. Cats look shady.
That's what I thought before I knew cats. I thought
that's a good way to put it. Cats seem shady. That's
they're
a very
always
good way
up to
just
something.
put it in a
They're
nutshell.
scheming.
These little shady ass
They're
animals.
scheming. Cats are shady and they're constantly scheming. That's and it was true. But at least when you know one, it's your friend after it pushes shit off that counter. Okay. They are very affectionate, but on their time, when they're ready, where dogs are ready all the time. But cats are constantly up to something. They're constantly scheming. Okay,
and
so
some cats are affectionate. Like, I mean, it's interesting. Out of all the cats that I've got, I've got a few that are just like crazy, freaking nonstop. One of the cats, Foxtrots. Especially the females, I find. Well, I don't know. Some of the males are pretty affectionate also, but I find the females generally are more affectionate. And that's actually an interesting thing in studies that they found with families that own cats. Female cats usually tend to they tend to bond with the husband more than the wife. It's an interesting phenomenon. I don't know if it's just because of testosterone or whatever it is, but in general, and I've heard that and just see that with other friends who have cats that are married and things like that. It's like the female cat is like super into the husband. It's an interesting dynamic like that. And I have a couple of my female cats are like freaking all the time in the way, like wanting petting all the time. I mean, they're just as bad as a dog in terms of wanting affection all the time, So it's just interesting. The cats have a bigger range of personalities, I find, than dogs do. Let's put it that way.
So interesting because Summer is a female, and I always felt like I said, if I get another dog, I'm going to get another female. I feel like Summer was a very affectionate dog, and I often thought, I wonder if it's because she's female or if that has any.
Could be, man.
Any
I don't know if I've ever looked into the studies on, or if somebody's done a study on why that is, but it's definitely been noted out there that from just observations that the female cats at least typically are more attracted to the husband if you're in a family of kids, even if you're just husband and wife, no kids, or even if you have kids, the female cat typically tends to migrate and hang out with the husband more than any other family members. Interesting phenomenon.
So I often wonder if that has any effect. Okay.
Very possible.
So, cats are shady. If anybody wants to check out more of the project, there's a whole show where we talk about the project. Josh goes through the blueprints. He shows you how the self-cleaning bins work. And he takes you through a whole tour of the whole cat project. He lays out all the
dogs and cats.
Yeah, so you guys can go back and check that show out. So at that period in time, there was a shelter, which ended up being a $15 million project. And IsoPets was kind of like just this NFT collection at the time. Yeah. And it seemed to now have a place in this whole thing. Because I don't think we really talked about IsoPets that much during the cat project.
Yeah, not really. And IsoPets was always the beginning. That was always part of the animal shelter, but it kind of started off the first initial thing I did, like everybody else, as soon as you got into crypto, I got to make an NFT project. 2021. Yeah. Everybody's got an NFT project. I need to make one too. And okay, I'll make an IsoPets NFT project. Because I was already kind of doing it before, but not as much. The NFT project got me more focused, driven on working on the IsoPets, brand and all that kind of stuff, because it was already part of the general overhaul. I knew what it was going to do for the shelter in general, but NFTs is really what lit the fire and kind of got that off the ground going, because initially it was like, okay, I'm going to make an NFT project like everybody else. But then after about a year. It took me a year and a half to make the entire to design all the 101. And, mine's not a 10,000. It's only 101 characters. That was it. It's basically the IsoPets are all based off real cat and dog breeds. So I went and looked at the statistics. What are the top 50 cat breeds that people own? What are the top 50 dog breeds that people own? And let me just make those. And that'll be the basis of, because there's tons of, dog breeds and stuff out there. But let me find the top 50 that basically rule the majority of what everybody owns around the planet. And let me focus on those. And so that's what I ended up doing, was making those top 50 cat and 50 dogs project. And it took me literally like a year and a half to get the art designed, figure out what the concepts are. And I'll send you some, which I've never put any of this stuff online. You'll see the original concepts of what IsoPets looked like before they got to the final design phase of what they look like now. The rough sketches and all the rough layouts and everything, because they look completely different than what they look like right now in the original phase of when I started this. So that's really what got it going, was making the NFT project. And then after that, once the NFT market tanked, and I saw people, I was just like, people were looking for utility and all this stuff. And I was like, this stuff's not really utility. I mean, yeah, technically it does serve a utility to get people involved in the animal shelter. So that's a utility in itself. But, I was like, I abandoned the project and never really launched the NFT project, and just decided from that, because I was already going to take this to retail. That was the main, that was already the main goal. This was a retail brand.
Hang on. Don't get too far ahead here. I got to ask some questions, bro.
Okay, go for it.
You know what I'm saying? You just can't run away with the show. Okay, so 100 and you said 101?
Yeah, 101.
Okay, what's the one?
Oh, the number 0, Echo.
Is that Echo?
That's Echo right there. That's blind Echo.
So
too.
Echo is the number 1, and then there's 50.
He's number 0. So 0 and then 100. So I consider him the special edition. So he's
Echo's the rare.
Yeah, his number is 0. So
okay, so Echo is the rare, and then you got 50 breeds and 50. So
yeah. Oh
no, I hit the mute button. Okay, so most people, they create a project, 10K project, and then they're looking to capitalize on the residuals from the flips, the sales from the secondary market. Obviously not the initial sales. The initial sales are not going to get you or put you in position to what how you want the shelter to run, right? But a self-funded, so a lot of interesting, right? So want to go back a little bit, and I want to point out that shelters, a lot of shelters are either funded by the city or run on donations. And
most shelters, I would say, you have private shelters, and then you have city shelters. Your typical animal, which is animal control. But when you call your local animal control to pick up a feral cat, animal, whatever, that's what your tax dollars are basically paying, and they run on a shoestring budget for the most part. And then if you're lucky, then you have privately funded shelters which are run on donations. Any other shelter that's not your city animal control, that's 100%. Somebody's putting the money up, typically donations to run those things.
Okay, but it's so either way, not a lot of funding within or for depending. Donations could be good in an area.
In most cases, let me tell you something. From spending 6 years talking to a shitload of them around the country,
not a lot of funding.
Most run on shoestring budgets. Let's just put it that way.
Right. Okay. So, what a beautiful world where it would be if you could possibly you had an emergency with your animal. Somehow you were in this fellowship for animal system. You can go to a fellowship for animal shelter and have access to their doctors, which could be paid if there was background funding for each one of these things. And so somehow I feel like where IsoPets might have not come into the picture, now IsoPets are in the picture in terms of, I believe you might have discovered a way through seeing what all the other projects have done You've now kind of seen the best and the worst, what succeeded, what has done very well. And so now you've put a lot of energy into this IsoPet projects, and it seemed to all happen and develop after the IsoPets coin. So does this have anything to do with driving funds? Because now you have the plushable, the logo. So why don't you talk about it?
Actually, the funding for the shelter is coming from stock trading. So that investing in the market is where the funding is coming from. For the vast majority of the funding for the shelter is going to come from that. Yes, will some come from sales? Yes, will eventually from EcoPet Tracker. Yes, will funds come from that? That's where all those funds will funnel in. So if you break it down into a pie chart, you're going to have an investment wing that the shelter generates in the market itself. So that's going to drive the funding. So even if no products existed, there's money always to run this place, because like you were saying, that's one of the things that I want to do in the shelter. And the thing about the shelter is that the grand scheme of the shelter is eventually to go to every major city and just consolidate every shelter into a single system. A fellowship for animals is, when you think of an animal shelter, you just go take it to FFA. That's the shelter system that we're going to take it to. And I'll just start consuming all these other shelters into one major conglomerate, let's say, because everybody's got the same goal, and so, but the thing about this is we'll have the funding to drive and then not have to rely. And, I'm sure people will donate, because then you'll be able to consolidate donations into one major location. So nobody's tried to do this before, and I know I'll be successful doing it. And I'm even going to try to take over the actual city animal control here and privatize it and have Fellowship for Animals run the city animal control as well, be under that umbrella. But investment funding from the stock market will be the number one revenue generator to keep the lights on in the animal shelter. Then you have EcoPet Tracker. You have the self-cleaning kennel system that will be sold to other shelters, other animal control facilities out there. And then you have IsoPets retail brand, which will be a major generator of funding, eventually. So that would be your pie chart of what makes up. And then, will donations be, who knows how much donations will take up long term? Who knows? But it's not something I focused on in the beginning. I've never taken a donation dollar not one donation has been accepted for the animal shelter yet. So it's all been privately funded.
I don't think that depending on other donations is a smart business. I don't think depending on anyone is a smart business
The thing
play.
is that having just seen people run on shoestring budgets, it's not how I wanted to run a business. I'm a business owner. I've been running businesses for many years. I've done tons of startups. I've started businesses. So, it's like having to rely on donations. Yes, do a lot of people donate to causes? Yes. The thing about I'm just not a huge fan of donations is my system would be different, because most people don't realize this. If you're a 501c3 in this country, you are not legally, I think the legal minimum requirement is like spending 5% of what you take in on donations. So let's say you take in $100,000, you're only legally required to spend like 5% of that on actually the cause that you're meaning to work on. So it's like, after taking $100,000, I'd only need to spend $5,000 actually helping animals, and the rest of that money I could put it in my pocket and go on vacation with it, do whatever I want with it. I mean, that's what I've just never been, and most people do not realize that. That's why if you actually look into, that's why I'm not a huge fan of. I donate to a lot of causes, but I do a lot of private donations personally, directly to the people that need the help. Rather than give it to an organization and then rely on them to go do it out there. I'd rather know that my money went. All 100% of it went to helping that cause that I care about, versus, paying somebody a $300,000 salary when they don't need to be paid that much. You're in a nonprofit, so it's like, yes, you need to pay people good, but, some of the salaries some of these nonprofits makes are egregious as far as I'm concerned, personally speaking, And so it's just something I did not want to do. But if people donate, that's the one thing where we'll be so transparent about it. When you donate the money, if we do take donations in, you will be able to see the books. Like everybody will be able to see the accounting. Like, this is what it takes to run. Here are the numbers. You can see the money that comes in, that comes out, and you'll realize that the administrative salaries are going to be like, not insane. I'm not even going to take a salary. I run the place. I don't need a salary. I'll pay myself $0. I don't care. So it's just something that I care a lot about, and it bothers me that, and just people don't really know that unless you go in and look into the shelter system or just any 501c3 not-for-profit. That's why so many people that's why they've actually been cracking down a lot, depending on the state, cracking down on people making 501c3s because people are taking advantage of it. You get tax write-offs, you be buying crap, people are buying cars and shit and this and that, the other with their 501c3 versus helping the cause that they actually intended or they say they want to help with their 501c3. So that's
okay. So what I want to focus on is I think you've kind of seen a formula that works. I'm going to reference the pudgy penguins. Now, interesting, right? Because as we were talking, I was thinking about this. Yeah, there's 100 IsoPets, right? But what if you let me ask you this: any plans in extending the collection?
No.
What if?
Because I really wanted to keep it, just true to actual animal breeds that are out there, and also I wanted this to be an actual collectible series. There's not 10,000 of these things. You're not going to collect all 10,000 pudgy penguins. And so, but when you own the physical IsoPets, the plush toys, you're actually having physical collectibles in a series and one that represents an animal breed, and you want to collect all the breeds, and so you actually can collect the entire set if you're a uber crazy person that wants to collect the whole set. And there's a finite amount. There's scarcity in it, and that scarcity will help drive the value of them long term. Because you can't just make a project and expect it to just blow up out there. You got to do more things. Scarcity is the number one thing that makes a project or a collectible worth more money down the road, is the scarcity of it. That's why you have rare traits for NFTs. That's the scarcity, trying to find the NFTs that have a rare trait. So I wanted having it limited to the most popular pets that people own it makes it more realistic, I guess. It's going off of the real world, in a sense. And I like that fact to where you can collect all the breeds that are out there, and those breeds relate to actual animals that are in shelters that you can adopt and all that kind of good stuff, So there's an actually one-to-one direct relationship. It's not made up stuff. Could I make a 10,000 collection and make a bunch of stuff with cats wearing hats and shooting laser beams?
Wait. Hear me out here.
Okay.
All right. Just a thought that popped into my head as we were talking, right? What if there was a collection for every I don't want to say franchise, for every shelter? So let's say there was New York, right? And so there was the New York collection. Let's say there was one in Chicago, and it was the Chicago collection.
The problem, if you were going to do that, is I would have to start incorporating non-tangible traits into freaking animals, but having them wear chains, having them wear sunglasses and hats, shooting laser beams. You start getting off of the realisticness of the animals themselves.
Hang on. Technically, they would all be one of one.
Yes, it would still but I don't want to go into that realm of making unrealistic traits for the animals. Let's just put it that way. I like the fact that the IsoPets actually represent real animals in the real world. And now, one thing I did think about is if I wanted to expand the collection, is a good example is an American short-haired cat. There's 12, 15 different coats, 20 different coats that they could have. A tuxedo cat, like Snickers, Wicked, and his brother and sister. They got the typical tuxedo style. You got Echo with stripes and spots. You got all types of, you got the tortoise style. You got different coat styles that I could do, which I thought about doing. If I were going to expand it, it would be based off all the different styles of coats and colors that all the different cats have. that would be a way to expand the collection right there. But the one thing I also liked about keeping it with 101 is that because originally when people, if because some of them are minted on OpenSea, I minted like 7 or 8 of them before I stopped, is you were kind of like, think of it like you're buying the original Disney art. Like these were the original concept characters, and you own the one-of-one originals to these things. So it would, you know, in a perfect world, the value of that would be make them extremely high because there's only a finite amount of those. And that's where, if you wanted to own a bunch of them, well, go buy a plush toy, you know, and then you own a bunch of different plush toys and things like that. But it would make that original art, you know, extremely valuable and very rare because there's only 101 of the original, and you're basically owning the original IP rights to these characters that are going to be built out into TV shows and all kinds of other products down the road.
Okay. Just curious if there was any room for expansion.
I mean, if I did, it would be from colored, like changing the color codes. But it's like, that's one thing I wanted to deviate myself from doing what everybody else is doing with 10,000, 2,000, 8,000. Everybody's doing the same thing. Nobody's doing what I'm doing. At least I don't know anybody who's making that's not doing a bunch of different traits. The traits are the individual real animals, and that's it. Now, if I wanted to expand it a little bit, then I could add all the different, you know, fur combinations that they may have and things like that.
I got you. Okay. Pudgy Penguins, a lot of success over there. And so I know you have paid very close attention to what they're doing because it seems like you started incorporating some of their concepts. Not only that, but I know you have worked, there was word of, you might have a sample plush toy. And so you might have something that we can see. So to talk about how this NFT collection is going to function and work, and then how you're going to...
Technically, there is no NFT collection, really. like really, right now, there is no NFT collection. You can't, except for the 8 that I minted. You know, I'd have to actually decide to go mint these things and and then go out there and be on spaces and be like, but the thing about it is that the amount of money, I don't want people to flip these things, and there's not that many to flip between people. So now I could say that's not necessarily true because if you look at Ether Rocks, but that's, that was like the original first, Ether Rocks, there's only 100 rocks, and those things ended up becoming worth $1 million each, and they were fucking literally pictures of a gray
hang
rock.
on, I didn't know this. So Ether Rocks only had 100?
That's it. There was only 100 of them that you could own. That's it. And that's the only other project I know in NFTs where there was only 100 of them. And that's what I was like, I liked about the IsoPets is that it was literally kind of in that same realm where it was like, that's it. And Ether Rocks, literally, I mean, they're laughable. They're freaking.
There's 100 Ether Rocks. Look at that.
Yeah, there's only 100 Ether Rocks. Those things were worth over $1 million at one point each. I mean, it was insane. Like, those are the most valuable NFTs out there. So,
okay, I didn't know that there was a 100 collection of Ether Rocks out there.
That's it.
What's the current? Do you know what the current price of them are?
Let me go see real quick. What's the floor price of Ether Rocks? I think they're still like over $500,000. Ether.
August 25th, 2021. A rock sold for $608,000.
Yeah, 250,000. I mean, those are like
So they're at $250K a piece right now.
Yeah, more than that. I mean, look at 900,000. Yeah, look at this Ether Rock price. Let me see on their Twitter page. Yeah, look at this 280 ETH, man. Let's see.
Ether Rock NFT sells for 1.3 million. I was not aware that the Ether Rocks had only. I know how big they were. Yeah, man. But I didn't know there was only 100 of them.
Exactly. It's crazy how, I mean, those things, like, there's no art behind those things. I mean, yeah, is it art? It's a fucking drawing of a rock. The most basic drawing. It's mind boggling. But yeah, there you go. That's a project with the 100 of them. Those things are still worth over $500,000. I mean, you had Visa buying.
February 2024, Sotheby's Metaverse auction off an Ether Rocks NFT. Estimated price between $500K and $700K. So,
Hang on one second.
I was not aware that Ether Rocks were doing this. Okay, never mind. Forget everything that I said. I didn't know that there was a 100 collection out there doing these type of numbers. So
Hold that thought, dude. Hold that thought.
I'm learning right now. I did not know about Ether. I know about Ether Rocks. I didn't know there was 100 of them. The floor price, $279,000. These things are worth 169 ETH each. What the fuck? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm learning. Look at that. Where'd you go? You here? Where the hell did you go? Okay, so let me talk to you guys. So Ether Rocks is a collection of 100. And just looking at the price of these guys, they're saying the floor price is 169 ETH. And that would make them valuable. That would make them a value of $279,000 each. So, and that's,
All right, I'm back.
You there? Oh,
Yeah, sorry about that, man. One of that feral cat
All right.
was outside fighting with my other cat.
No. I just I'm making myself familiar with Ether Rocks
Yeah,
because
the Ether Rocks, dude. Insane.
okay.
Insane
Never.
project.
Yeah. So ignore everything that I said about expansion, because I didn't know there was 100 collection with that.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
All right. So that makes sense. Then that lines up. Never mind what I said. Expansion would be nice. Wouldn't it be cool if you drop like maybe 15 of them on like BTC with different coats? That might be a cool way to expand them to Bitcoin. Maybe put 20 over there. Okay, so that makes this makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now where does IsoPets go from here, right? Because I know you have a bigger plan, and then also this is where I believe Pudgy Penguins might have inspired you to bring IsoPets to the real world. You did also say at one point in time that you did want to create a plush toy. What's the progress on that, and what's the plan there, and what are you thinking there?
but bam, there's IsoPet number 0 right there, live and in color. So the plush toy, yeah. My entire initial plan was to take this to retail, which was because that's where because just realistically, I mean, I like to be realistic, like I didn't think anybody was even going to buy IsoPets. That's why I just didn't even do the NFT project. And I figured if I were going to decide to make the project into an NFT collection, I would do it down the road after IsoPets are in retail stores and things like that. Like I've always wanted to go to retail, but I saw just seeing what Pudgy Penguins, how successful theirs were. It only just reinforced my desire to go to retail. I mean, IsoPets is a great retail brand. Seeing the collectibles on how good Pudgy Penguins did go straight to retail, I was like, okay, this is like a no-brainer. Like it just solidified what I was already intending in my mind to do in the first place, was to take this to retail, because it's a great, this is a great crossover brand between kids and adults. And the thing about the IsoPets toys is that when you have a tangible toy, you're collecting your favorite cat breed. If you have a German Shepherd dog, you're going to collect your German Shepherd, IsoPet dog. Or if you got an American Shorthair cat, you're going to go collect the American Shorthair IsoPet cat, toy. And so that is the physical, tangible way to get kids involved with animal shelters. Because as soon as they have that, then it brings them into the ecosystem. So how do you bring, from a branding and a marketing standpoint, how do you get people to, you need to bring an emotional attachment to your products. How do you do that? Well, a physical product is a great way to do it. And then having it tied to real animals that people own is a great crossover, that's going to be a very good way to emotionally make a great emotional connection. And then everything behind owning it is a great cause. When you realize what it is and what it's a part of, it's not just another plush toy. It's a plush toy from most advanced animal shelter ever designed on fucking planet Earth. So that right there solidifies, it brings gravitas to the IsoPets brand, more than just a general, there's a million plush toys out there. There's a bazillion people making plush toys out there. but there's not very, I don't know any plush toys besides ones that are like, from Disney that are connected to Disney or, other major brands out there doing like that. But there ain't nothing connected with animal shelters that I know of. I ain't never seen it yet. So that's something where you make a very good bridge right there. And so the more that people you can drive that emotional connection with the younger generation, the more they're going to want to be involved with animal shelter. So it's a great bridge gap to bring those two together. And then the next step from there is doing, because it's not just it's not only that I want to do. And the thing about the packaging,
Does it come in a cage?
No, not a cage. I know we talked about the cage, but no, the IsoPet, as a matter of fact, the box that the IsoPet comes in is extremely high-end packaging. It's got a front door flap on it that's magnetic and opens up. It's got a clear plexiglass window on the front. Inside of the one, it's got metal tags like this. I'll show you right here. It's got a bunch of metal tags like this.
And
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And when you get one, you'll get a hand-stamped metal tag that's in your box. That's hand-stamped with your serial number on it. So everyone's unique in terms of your serial number that you get with a metal tag that comes accompanying with it. So it's super high-end packaging. The packaging actually costs more to make than the toy does from a price standpoint. That's how nice and high in the packaging. Because I want collectors who collect items. If you go look, you own Legos in boxes. You don't open the boxes. People, when you buy collectibles, man, you want the box and you want to keep it in the box. Like that's where it elevates the value of the toy that much more when you don't take it out the box. So that's where I want the packaging to be super high end, super nice. And then so people can collect them. I mean, you can take it out, but I want the true collectors that are be collecting multiple of them to have them, in the box. Very nice display and nice display cases. They can sit under a display case. They look good and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. IsoPet collectibles. Now I'm glad that you informed me about the ether rocks. Because that makes me feel a lot better about the 100 collection now. Now that I saw the ether rocks, yeah, that changes my perspective on everything. So I didn't know there was a collection out there that low doing that.
Only 100.
Well.
I don't know, and honestly, I don't know any other NFT project that only has 100 like that.
No,
that are like
I don't either. I didn't even
that are worth that much money, man. Like those are off the chart in their value.
Right. Yeah, I didn't. So I remember Kath had posted that she had 2 of them, something from a drop. Oh, look how lucky I am. I got 2 of them. And I didn't know what the big hoopla was about. Now, this makes a lot more sense.
She has one?
She has 2 of them, I think. Yeah.
2 ether rocks?
Yeah.
That's a serious. She bought them or somebody gave them to her?
It sounded to me like it was some sort of drop where she received them. Or she bought them from the collection when the collection dropped. It didn't.
These were minted back in 2007. That's when these came out. That's why they're worth so much. They were the first NFT collection.
Maybe she bought. I'm sure the post is still on her X page.
I'm sure I'll have to go check it out.
I didn't know what it was. I just saw it and I was like, "What the fuck is that?
Interesting.
A rock?"
That's interesting.
But I remember her it was a big deal. And I'm just like, what the fuck is a big deal over this rock? I'm like, there's probably 10,000 rocks, but
Nope.
I didn't know there was only 100.
Yeah, only 100 of them.
Okay, so that makes that puts IsoPets NFT the end. I think you should mint these fucking things immediately. I don't even know what you're waiting for. I
just didn't think that because
let them rip.
If
they trade them, but first of all, you can't stop anybody from flipping them.
No, that's flipping is good in these because it'll drive the value up, which is technically what you want. I mean, that's how the value increases. You want people to flip them,
sure,
and trade them up.
Yeah.
Like that.
But you made them so difficult.
I just personally didn't think, honestly, there was a desire from the NFT standpoint because the thing was, I was in not Skirpy, but Doodlegenics for over a year talking about IsoPets, and I got crickets. You know, people were freaking buying this and that and the other, and nobody was caring about IsoPets. And I was like, you know what?
You are not allowed to sit there and speak like this when there are pictures of fucking digital rocks selling for $239 a piece.
I was just like that's what really flipped my mindset, to just being like, I was like, fuck it, man. Like I've been building brands for companies for 30 fucking years. Like I know how to take things to retail. Like that's what I know. That's my expertise. And you know, so it's like I was just like, I'm not gonna waste time trying to beg people to buy these things. I'm just gonna fucking like, I think there's a couple of people that actually I gave a couple of out to people. So there's like 2 people that have IsoPets, the actual NFTs that own them. You know, I gave them away to them. You know, and so I just like abandoned the whole project, and I was just like, I'm just gonna focus on retail, man. And then I'll come if I decide to come back around, because I know the power of what IsoPets will be in the retail space. I got no doubt it's gonna blow up. Like when I guarantee when I run the Kickstarter campaign for this thing, these toys will sell out in 5 seconds flat. Like not going to be. I've run other Kickstarter campaigns that were 100% successful, so I have no doubt these will sell out with no problem whatsoever. And I was like, as I do that, maybe I'll go mint them after the fact. After people are like, oh fuck, IsoPets, I need now I want an IsoPet. You know, then I'll go back and mint them on whatever platform. But it's good. It's kind of good that I have not minted them yet, because maybe I would go mint them on Bitcoin on ordinals instead. You know.
Well, you only have well, wait a second, oh no, Ether rocks are on ETH, right?
Yeah, Ether rocks are on ETH.
Right,
yeah,
right, okay. Oh God, imagine turning that collection to ordinals. And
I think somebody has. Like that's the thing. Like, dude, like everybody has taken the original projects and made a spin-off of them, on another chain, at some point in time. I guarantee if we looked, I'm sure somebody has probably come up. They're probably on Doge. They're probably on Bitcoin. If we went and looked in the trenches, it probably exists out there already.
So the plan, which is now you mentioned retail, but you also mentioned a Kickstarter campaign. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Kickstarter campaign is going to be for the plush toys, and that's just going to be to gauge the retail sentiment of the plush toy, just to see what kind of what kind of response I get on it. I mean, I pretty much know they'll sell out, but I'm going to put a very high target on it and see what kind of response I get just from the general public. People knowing the backstory, how they're connected, what the purpose of them are, and all that kind of stuff. But it'll just be a good primer in general. And so that's why, because I don't even really honestly need to run it, but I want to do it anyways, just because I know if I sell out, the secondary benefit of doing a Kickstarter campaign is that if you sell out on a high mark Kickstarter campaign, it'll be that much easier when I go approach Walmart and Target. They'll want to carry the product. Will they probably want to carry it before when they know what it's about? Yeah, probably. But it will only increase the chances of them stocking the toys if I do that. So that's why it's just that's why even if you run a Kickstarter campaign, it's just good exposure in general. See, it's good marketing. Kickstarter's been around for such a long time now. It's got a very active community and people that like to back things on it. So that's why I decided to do a Kickstarter. And what I'm going to do is for this one that's what I'm going to do for this one. This will be a limited series. So you'll only be able to buy number 0 on the Kickstarter campaign. I will never sell this one again, ever, except from that Kickstarter campaign. So you'll only be able to buy the Blind Echo, because there's not going to be any other blind one. This is probably the only blind cat plush toy that exists on the fucking planet, that's modeled after a disabled cat. So that's what I decided to do, which would be kind of cool to drive. That'll help drive, gravitas to it, is that these will not be for sale ever again. So I'm going to do it one time on the Kickstarter campaign, and that's the only way you'll be able to get number 0, which will make them even a more limited collection. So you won't be able to get them any other time except from the Kickstarter campaign, which would be a cool way to kind of like get it going, and add a little extra flair to it.
Or anyone who buys a Bitcoin IsoPet gets a plush
Oh yeah, I already thought about doing it if you buy one, but then only well. Let me tell you what I was originally going to do, and I'll show you right here. I've got originally when if you bought one of the NFTs, you were going to get a hand drawn. Be careful with these. These are very nice. So this is a hand drawn stipple artwork of the IsoPets on Velum. So this is what you would have gotten when you bought an NFT for the first time. So the first time buyer of the NFT would get a hand-signed, hand-drawn stipple artwork that accompanied the IsoPet that you bought. But these things take so long to make. Like I was like, because I've got the German Shepherd, and I got a couple of them here. I got the German Shepherd, and I've got Echo right here. That's Echo's original stipple artwork print done by hand. And then this is the Rottweiler one right there done by hand. But yeah, you would have gotten these original artworks framed, and then they would have come with a certificate of authenticity. And that was the thing. I was like, man, for me to put a price on these things, like I would put a very expensive price to buy these things in the beginning. Like I wouldn't put these things out there for sale. There'd be a few $100s to buy the original NFT. That would be the starting price, and nobody launches their NFT for, a couple $100 starting off with. Most of them now, they just give them out for free. And then they want you to like bid them up from there. So that was another reason I was like, man, I'm like giving away like way better stuff than what anybody else is doing on their project. Like I'm not just going to give fucking stuff out for nothing when you're getting just crazy good original artwork framed, and all that kind of, and it came with a QR code. Like it had the original print, and it was going to be in a double frame. It was actually a triple frame. You'd have the QR code, and as a matter of fact, I think we'll be able to look at one later. It'd be the QR code, and then you'd have the original print of the one that you bought, and then you'd have that Velum one up in the bottom right-hand corner. So it'd be a big-ass frame, man, and it would be just like, boom. Like how you see, like, the record people when they get their platinum records, they have the big record in the middle, and then they got two, like, other double frames at the bottom in the same frame. That's how this is how these would have been done if you bought the original NFTs. And then I was just like, no way, I'm not giving out this freaking shit for nothing, for people who probably won't even appreciate what they have in their hands,
What did the Ether Rocks start at? Do you know?
I think they started for nothing, man. But the only reason why they just got huge was because of the whole NFT. Dude, nobody bought Ether Rocks for a while. I think they started like for $20 for like nothing. Like I think they were literally like nothing to buy in the beginning, and nobody cared about it. And they sat around, dude, from 2007. They sat around forever until finally, like, they didn't start blowing up until like 2020, and when the whole freaking the first and last bull market for NFT that ever existed, because I don't personally believe that that's ever going to come back to the point of what happened in 2020, 2021 with the values that these things reach. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think, looking at the current landscape, we'll ever get to that like crazy level of peak of people spending that on artwork. Maybe down the road, maybe it'll change in 20, 30 years, who knows? But, anytime soon, I don't think that's going to happen. So, but yeah, Ether Rocks I think they were like nothing in the beginning, man. And people were sitting on these things. It'd be interesting to analyze the whole trail of those. How many times did it, because that's the thing that when you look, if you were to look at a curve, if you were to look at a pricing curve of, it's not a linear line. I guarantee you it's like a little bit, people sold it for $20 and then they flipped it for 50, then they flipped it for 60, until you hit that like multi-$1,000s. Then it's like once you break a certain level, then it just shoots off like a fucking rocket. Then it goes from 50,000, you're selling it for to 80,000. You're tacking on another $30,000 on top of it. Then when that person buys it for 80, they're flipping it for $150,000. It's going like,
let the IsoPets rip.
Yeah, like it is just launching. Then that person who buys it for $150,000, they're selling it for $300,000. You're like doubling it, tripling the price. Once it gets to these crazy levels, because the fever around it is just insane, and people will buy it for whatever, and then try to flip it to for the next price, and just that you just seen that linear freaking curve go up, like a rocket ship.
I mean, you got all those guys in the IsoPet group. You got, these things will move. People, even if you start them at $1 or $20, people will buy them, and then you sit back and wait and see what happens. And the minute they start flipping,
but the thing about it is, a lot of people don't realize that. We've talked about this in other shows, man. The amount of projects that Wash sold their NFTs to generate the appearance of them moving was probably almost everyone out there. Bored Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks probably had some of that happening. I mean, I read a study on all the major projects, man, that did wash sales, buying and selling their own NFTs, to generate the hype. Like, oh shit, these things are flying through the roof. Now I got to go. I need to buy one of these things like right now. And then that's how these things. And then once you get to a certain point, then the public takes off from there. Then it organically goes itself. But all these projects, they started by the owners selling the or people that owned them selling it between themselves, generating the appearance, the illusion that they're selling, that all these people are buying and flipping these NFTs. So that's what most people do not realize, how the sausage was made on these projects, how they got to these levels. They didn't necessarily get there organically from scratch. Let's just put it that way. Ether Rock may be like one of the few rare ones that actually did have people just not wash sold them. They just bought them. They were scarce. There was only 100 of them. There wasn't 10,000 of them. So that scarcity in itself was what drove the prices to those levels, and they didn't need a wash sale.
Let the IsoPets rip. Okay, so where we go from here?
One of the other things on the IsoPets that the next phase of the IsoPets is, already, like I was telling you earlier, I'm talking to Wellness Pet Food. I'm going to see if they want to do a sponsored partnership. So I'm going to talk to some pet food brands out there, see if they want to do some cross chain sponsorships and things like that. And then the next thing that's going to be on queue is going to be the biggest thing I want to do besides the retail plush toys is make a TV series, an actual fucking cartoon show called IsoPets. That's an event. It'll start on YouTube. That's where it'll be. It'll be on the website, and then I'll start it on YouTube, which I already have the IsoPet channel on YouTube made. So making basically the premise behind the IsoPets, I've been working on the storyline for what's the story of the IsoPets? You need to have a story. What is the story of the IsoPets? So the story of the IsoPets are they're an elite team of cats and dogs that work for the Fellowship for Animals, and they go out and rescue other dogs and cats. And every TV episode is them on a different adventure, rescuing a different, another animal that's out there. And they'll rescue other things besides dogs and cats, but that'll be the basic premise of the show. And there's so many, it's like all the doctor shows that are out there. Like what most people don't realize is that like all those like medical doctor shows that are out there, like so many of those shows, they're all based off real life shit that happened in fucking ER rooms, man. Like you get like, they go and get these stories, collect these stories, like, and it's the same thing. Like there is unlimited amount of stories out there that I could generate without even having to worry about using AI, that I could just use real world examples of animals that were being rescued from people, except swap the people out for IsoPets. And IsoPets, and Echo's the blind cat. He's the leader of the IsoPets, and so that's even cooler. You got a blind cat that leads this whole team of fucking IsoPets. So that's what the storyline behind the IsoPets. And so, I mean, having an animated TV show, I think will be a fucking huge thing when I get that going. So that's like next step in queue is start working on the concept art of how, if I'm going to do that, either traditional animation style, like you see like Simpsons, like typical stuff using Toon Boom Animation Studio, or more than likely I'll go the 3D animation route, just because by the sheer design of how I have the IsoPets designed, it'll probably work better in 3D. But that's the next step, and start doing a few concept. I already have one concept animation I did a while back, but that'll be the next phase, is doing some concept TV show animations and then like make a couple of short clips, because eventually, as I start putting the content out on YouTube, I will eventually go to Cartoon Network and I'm going to pitch them to see if they want to make this into a televised show on the actual Cartoon Network. So I'll take this from YouTube, because the thing about it is that, and that'll be the plush toys will be the center of all that. I mean, I could work on the show, but I mean, you ever made a freaking worked in, I mean, yeah, but I don't know if you ever worked on like animated style shows. The amount of money it'll cost to do that, you're talking over $100,000 to put a basic framework together just to get animated shows made in the first place. Rigging the animals, building the sets in 3D, all the stuff that's involved in that. I mean, you're easily talking $100,000 just to build the assets behind making the show itself, so, but once that's all made, then you can start doing the storyline and all that kind of things like that. But having the toy will help generate just awareness. That's the one thing. This is easy to get out there. It's easy to build awareness to the project itself. And then as you start, I'll start showing out, on the website. I already have a little frame talking about the show, the IsoPet TV show, that'll, like a little couple of, I sent you one of the things I sent you one of the screenshots of the house that was on fire with the animals sitting in the front window.
Yeah, I saw that.
Waiting to be rescued. That would be like that's one of the that's one of the art designs that will be on the website that I'm working on right now. So yeah, like major 2 phases: retail, plush toys, and then doing cartoons. Because that right there, man, dude, like I know how big this brand could get. I mean, nobody's done really anything around animals like that. It's the perfect synergy that's built back behind real world things. It's not SpongeBob. It's made up. It's actual animals. More than half the country, more than half the fucking world owns a pet. I mean, like there's oodles of people who can relate to this shit. So the amount of viewership that this can garner, the pool to generate from is massive. It's massive. It is not a niche product at all. It covers such a wide audience that it's bound to be successful just from the sheer amount of numbers of people that are out there that this can get in front of. So yeah, having an animated TV show is going to be a huge secondary driver besides, the plush toy themselves. And then, props to Cuniverse people. Your idea of the chess set, I'm having that made. The chess set of dogs versus cats. Dude, everybody I told that idea to was like, that is genius. Love the idea. I was like, dude, isn't that a great idea? A chess set with dogs versus cats, man. What a great freaking, what a cool little thing to make right there. So that is 100% getting made. So, props to you for that.
I have a good idea once in a while. Yeah.
Made it to the window, dude. It made it to the window.
So every now and then, that creativity self-fires. I forgot about that. Joshy Mint, right? Joshy Mint. Joshin.
That's right. Yeah,
Jocelyn Mint.
Jocelyn Mint.
Holy shit. Oh man, where was my head that night?
I don't know, but I was cracking up, dude. You were firing over those commercials, man. I was laughing.
Yeah.
Dude, the stuff that they were making, man, like those freaking collectibles, dude, were crazy high quality.
The what was it? Franklin Mint. Your Franklin Mint was such a part of my childhood because that shit played during every fucking
all over the place, dude. I totally forgot about it until you were like posting. I was like, oh my god, man, like. I completely forgot about these commercials, dude, in the 80s, but they'd be on all the time, dude.
All the time.
You'd be watching cartoons, and those would be like the commercials in the cartoon. G.I. Joe.
Put the fucking cartoon back on. Who cares about this shit?
Yes, exactly. And so, yeah, like what I'm going to do for the chess set, that guy that I showed you that made does those crystal carvings, I'm going to do like some a crystal chess set. Like that's going to be like my own like nice one that goes in the office, like, just a one of a one cool little set. But yeah, eventually I think a freaking chess set of dogs versus cats will be super fucking awesome. Of IsoPets, man, it's a great, awesome idea.
Okay, so we got the plush toy, we got the cartoon. We have the chess set. And then all of this is being tied into the NFT collection, the 101 different breeds of NFTs, IsoPets. And then all of this will, I would assume, profits, percentages would break down.
Yeah, just all of it, man. All of it goes to the shelter, man.
That would
That's
support the
And all
shelters,
just
right?
all just feeds into the shelter.
Okay. So IsoPets is interesting, right? Because I think if anybody goes back and watches the first show, which the shelter is it's a very clear, you could see how clear and concise, this is the plan. I've thought all this out. I've designed everything. And throughout, interesting, right? Because throughout the 3 shows, I think maybe we mentioned IsoPets, but it was just this NFT collection. And
Yeah,
now,
it was just an NFT. I mean, I never really went into the detail, the sheer detail of what the whole vision and the plan was until tonight, really. Like, I mean, only like a few people kind of, friends and stuff that knew about what it is going to be, know the whole like scope of what the entire like brand, like when I mean a brand, it's going to be a fucking massive retail brand, not just just another NFT project that's out there. And that's the thing that, that's what Doodles is realizing. That's what Pudgy Penguins realize. Like, you want to expand your ecosystem, you got to get out of fucking NFTs, man, and go to the real world. Yeah. That is where the people are. That's where the money is. That's where you can build. That's where your true audience is going to be out there. There's just a handful of people in NFT space, man, but the real world has got the people who are going to buy this stuff, put it on their fucking, sit it on their countertop. Other people are going to come over. People don't have their digital NFTs sitting out, but they got their plush toys sitting on the counter when people come over. Oh, did you see my new, their kids got the plush toy in the car, throwing it up in the window, so it's like, you see these things in the real world. People can relate to this in real world. The NFTs only go so far before they cut off, and the general mass population, they don't know anything about it,
So I have a folder with, hang on, let me check some time. 10:20, an hour 20 already. Like we're not used to spending hours shooting the shit. I have some of the digital files that you sent over. We probably got about 40 minutes left to the show. Is now good? You want to bring some of this stuff up?
I'm gonna show some of like the artwork and things like that. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's get over here right now. Okay, we are gonna aggressive.
It's like people probably realize, like, they saw the poster for tonight, like IsoPets, like you're gonna interview some cartoon dogs and cats.
Well, you never know. We had a kid called Beast, which we need an update show with.
But he was already. That's the thing, is that he was already, his project was out there. People already knew about it. I've never pushed IsoPets anywhere. That's why nobody knows about this fucking shit.
Well, it'd been funny if you came on with a IsoPet.
I am going to make one of those for Google Meets after seeing a kid called Beast. Like, I talked to their 3D dude. I've got the program to make it. So as soon as I get around to like doing the animated TV show concepts, I'll start doing the digital modeling for the custom head for Google Meets.
Okay, I'm just setting up here. Let me get this camera right. Okay, the camera's good. And then I have your file, which was downloaded. So the download should be here. Boom, perfect. IsoPets zip. Let me open that up. That's good. Okay, and then IsoPets folder. Okay, so within this folder, I have collabs, concepts, FFA, WIP, and everything else. Where do you want me to start?
It doesn't matter where. If you want to start on the concepts, and just see like how the stuff was looking before they got to the way they look now. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, hang on. Let me. Okay, which of the concepts are the ones that are all in the folder?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me start here. So I'm not going in any of the other folders, not the collab folder or. Okay.
Yeah, you can show those. Like, I'll show some of the stuff. We can talk about that. But yeah, if you want to see where you want me to start? Yeah, start in the original concepts, like the concept art,
Okay.
and I'll show you some of the. I've got some of the stuff here on paper too.
Okay. I'm gonna myself. I'm learning for my lawn wrecker collection. I'm gonna have a very low run of good dogs and evil walkers and.
Yeah, you give like there you go. Yeah, like you've got all kinds of traits for those people.
That's right. We're gonna have evil walkers. We're gonna have good walkers. All right. So I have the Dalmatian up right
Yeah, I
now.
see that.
Here's my question. And you have described this before. Let me move the camera so you're not talking to an empty seat. I think the conversation goes a lot better when you can see my face. So you've spoke about this before, but the ISO. What is the meaning of ISO?
Isometric. I love the isometric artwork, so that's why I called it. Originally, they were called EtherPets. That was the original name. Like when you go to the Instagram page, like I never changed it. They're all still show as EtherPets. That was the original name. Like I own EtherPets on Twitter, like or X. And then I was like EtherPets. Because I knew I was taking it to retail. I was like EtherPets is not going to fucking go with people are not going to know what the hell that is. And so I switched it to IsoPets. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call them IsoPets. And that's why I ended up changing the name from EtherPets to IsoPets.
People know Ethrox. Let me tell you. So this is a Dalmatian, and this is an isometric form, drawn in isometric form. Oh yeah, let me zoom in a little. I didn't know I could make it big. Where are we gonna go from here? I think if I flick, hang on, no.
Like here, I'll show you some of the.
It doesn't access the same folder, really. Okay. I'll have to bring up each one of these. Let's bring up the German Shepherd.
Yeah, you'll have to open it. Like here you go, real quick. Like there's like an original like block formation of the characters before I got them into the style that they're in now.
I don't know the name of the toy. I'm really gonna have to dig for this one.
You mean like the breed?
No, I mean there was a toy called Playmobil. Do you remember that toy?
Playmobil. Do not. Let me Google that up.
Let me see if Playmobil.
Oh yeah, Playmobil. I see it. Yeah.
Do you remember these guys from our this was from our time period?
Vaguely.
Let me see. Playmobil dog. Look up the Playmobil sets with the dog breeds in them, or Playmobil dog trainer. That's what these guys kind of. I don't know. This is the first thing I thought of when I saw.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, if you go to image search.
Yeah, I'm looking at them.
You'll see all the Playmobil. Yeah, this is so. Yeah, little toys. Possible, but who knows? Who knows what the?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that I'm making for these. Like, I'm gonna have 3D printed vinyl toys. Right, so that's the only thing I forgot to talk about. So you'll be able to get hand done, 3D printed, hand painted IsoPets. Eventually, I'll make a toy series that are smaller vinyl toys, like for keychains and things like that, little tchotchkes.
People love tchotchkes. Okay, I have the I had the German Shepherd up.
Yes, those are some of the ones that are not out there. Is that the ones from the concepts folder?
Yeah, no, not from the concepts folder.
Yeah, go to the concepts folder.
Oh, okay.
Start with that.
Okay, let's go to the concepts.
That's like the original how they started out before they got to the way they look now.
Okay, must have had shit in my ears. Here we go. All right, we're in the concepts folder. Can you see what's on screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. Was this the so this was some of what the original concepts?
Yeah, this is like the original, like the original styling of them. When I was like isometric pets, what are these things gonna look like? These are like some of the original like concept artwork before they turned into what they look like now.
Oh, these are interesting. So these were the originals.
Yeah, these were like these were the concepts being formed all the different variations before I got to the way they look right now.
Now, how did you create these?
Photoshop.
Okay. It's interesting watching them take form, and then seeing the final product. Let's zoom in a little so we could see this.
And yeah, that's the American short hair. Yeah, like there you go. You're about to zoom in to that.
Did you sketch these in Photoshop?
Yeah. What I did originally, I started sketching these, and then what I ended up doing was to get because I'm not a hand artist. Like, so what I ended up doing was I ended up hiring a badass game concept artist to help me kind of like finalize, here's my original concept. Help me kind of like smooth out the rough edges of these. And we kind of worked together to like get the final. And then once I had the final shape, then I from there, I made all the ones that are out there. So, but those are like the original kind of like, okay, this is what's in my head. This is kind of like what I'm thinking about these things, what I want them to look like and things like that. And then that's how they evolved to what they are now.
You really want to fund this thing and blow it up? Here, I'm gonna show you something. If you look at your camera, right? So on my phone.
What a game, a mobile game.
Yeah. So you see
Dude.
you see this game right here, Hustle Castle?
Yeah.
This is so it's like 6 years later, right? This Hustle Castle is still on my phone, and I still play it when I have nothing to do. I'm gonna zoom in here on the chamber. I don't know if you see the little animals running around, but that's my team, right? And you build your team, and you put the gems, and you have all their gear. And you put the gems in, and then your team fights another team. And let me tell you something: the microtransactions on these fucking
that's the thing, man. That's what mobile games are all about.
Oh my
Microtransactions,
god, man! If you had an IsoPets game where teams of IsoPets,
I mean, maybe down the road I'll get to that, but the thing about games, dude, they're so saturated. This is where building the retail brand first will help if I ever decide to make a game. Because once you establish, like if I were to just make a game right now,
Angry Birds, right?
Yep. But you got to remember, Angry Birds were like one of the first kind of like super popular mobile games. Like they're like OG. Like so, like it's hard to build off successes like that because everybody wants to make a mobile game, and that's what happened. Everybody fucking makes a mobile game, and so you're dealing with a market that is incredibly saturated and nearly impossible to break through. For every one game that breaks through, dude, there's a fucking 10,000 games that were built that go nowhere. I mean, that's the chances you have of breaking through. So you have to spend immense marketing money to get your game, and then you got to get the retention. People don't want to keep playing it. So it is absolutely the worst way to spend your money. And I see a lot of these people with NFT projects. Oh, we're going to build a game. And it's like, yeah, you know what? That's going to go nowhere. And most of them, if not all of them, went nowhere because it's just extremely difficult to build a mobile game and get it out there without spending. I mean, you're better off doing like spending that same amount of money building a cartoon. I mean, if you have a concept that fits well with a cartoon, but in general, it's still extremely difficult to do that. So it's better if I were building the brand out and where people knew, like, if Pudgy Penguins were to make a game, then it would be huge because it's retail fucking everywhere. So then if they decided to make a game IP, that would be the time to do it after they're already big in retail. Everybody knows them. They've sold $10 million worth of them in Walmart and Target, and I would have to take the same approach to that. Once the brand is out there in the general public, it's successful, they know about it. Then if they're like, oh, we're going to make a game, I have an audience ready to go, ready to download the game of a million people who will be instant players, then you can monetize that aspect of it.
We
But
will,
yeah, Leo
we
is
will,
like,
we will revisit this conversation from the walls of Walmart.
yeah.
When all of the IsoPets are backdrop and we're sitting there having a live show with all the IsoPets on the back of
I like it.
the shelves of
Yeah,
Walmart.
oh, fuck, yeah. I'll do that. I'll do the show live in Walmart.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I threw the concept folder. Where should I go
Yeah.
next?
If you're doing the concept folder, okay. Next, I would say go to, let's see, okay, FFA. You don't really have to show that if you want to, but that's for the animal shelter. I would go. Oh wait, you know what? Oh man, I forgot to send all the ones. Oh no, that's what I forgot to send. Well, you'd have to open up in your. Dang it.
I did open up the
No, I have a bunch of them here. Like if you look on your signal.
hang on. I did open up the animal shelter real quick while you send these.
That's if you want to see what the original design was before I designed mine, that was it. That's what got me involved in it. That was the original ugly ass shelter that the city had designed, that the head of animal control had designed. And I was like, when I was in his office, I was like, this thing is ugly. I was like, who designed this thing? I was like, man, we could do way better than that. And the guy was like, I designed that. And I was like, oh shit, foot and mouth. Like that was like the first time I ever met the head of animal control was when I got involved from the whole story that got me involved in this in the first place. Cause I didn't wake up one day and I was like, oh, I want to fucking make the most advanced animal shelter on earth. You know, something happened with the cat and that got me involved. But yeah, that was the original design of the animal shelter that they were going to build here before I got involved in it and designed mine.
Okay, I got your design up. Your
So
floor.
there you go. That's like that's the floor
I
plan of
got
it.
your floor plan up now, and I think I got Wicked's family walking around in my backyard. I threw them a handful of food the other day, but they run away from me. All right, so I have your floor plan up at the moment. And what was this? Fellowship for Animals is now.
Yeah, so that's the actual animal shelter floor plan right there. So there's been a couple of changes that I haven't exported out, but that's the main, pretty much bulk of it right there.
Okay. These are the self-cleaning kennels to the left or on the bottom?
They're all well. That's you do scroll. They're in the orange areas. Is where the self cleaning kennels are.
Okay. I have.
And those kennels are a little bit different than the ones that we're selling because obviously I'm building mine from scratch. But the modular system is a little bit different than what I'm using in mine. So, but same type of concept essentially.
Should I move on to the PDF with the Fellowship for Animals?
No, you don't have to show that since you already looked at the floor plan right there. So you can go back to the main folder and show some of the artwork for them.
Okay. Let me close these up.
I'll send you another file because I totally forgot. Because I was going to send you some of the ones that I've not put out anywhere that nobody has seen before.
I have a whip collabs. I have a whip folder, a collabs folder, and then I have everything in the folder. And then,
so you can pull the ones up that are in the main folder.
Okay, you want me to bring those up now? What about these that you sent me on Signal?
I'm gonna send you a file of those that are higher resolution. So
okay, so all right, I'm gonna bring up the Dalmatian. I have the Dalmatian up now. And so the Dalmatian is kind of like the physical form that evolved. Let me bring up all of these guys. For a second, I thought this was a schnauzer.
yeah, so that's what they'll look like standing up, since all of them are all in sitting positions. So that it'll say on the that one right there is the which one is that? That's the Affenpinscher breed. That's the Afghan Hound.
Man, the crazy thing about this is that everybody can relate to their breed.
Dude,
Right?
that's the beauty of the whole thing, is that's why I like the fact of building them off of real animals, because people own these animals, so they can 100% relate to, and they want to collect the one that they own. So it's a perfect synergy is what it is.
I have the Scottish fold up.
Yeah, I love that one. That's a good one.
Okay. Hang on.
And it's like all the freaking, like, I went and analyzed the photos and found which ones have the most, which of these animals have like the freaking, which coat is the most common, so that I could design the most common style of that cat or dog that exists out there. And then if I wanted to expand it, I can, like a Chinese Shar-Pei, like I had one of those growing up right there. I love that one.
I have Jared's IsoPets up.
Yeah, those are custom ones that I did. Like, I've only done 2 custom ones.
Oh,
You
shit.
have a custom.
Oh,
You have a custom one, and that's my other buddy Jared. Those are all his actual dogs that he owned.
Here comes my crew.
So yeah, I've actually designed some custom ones for people out there.
There's my crew right there. That's my Jindo. Do you have a Jindo in the 50 out of 50?
I do.
And that's my crew. Those are my guys. Do you want me to? I'm gonna bring up the neons and the main.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah, that's the other series, the IsoPet Neon series. So this is another little custom offshoot that I was doing, because I love neon lights. So I was gonna make an IsoPets Neon series that people could own. And the IsoPet Neons were gonna be animated. Those were animated ones. So those are actually like 3D animated. That's a little animated GIF right there I made.
Where did it go? What happened to it? I opened it up and let me see. There we go. Come on. Play for us. There we go. Feels like the cartoon already exists. Hang on. I'm gonna bring up the neon Persian. Where are you? Oh, I know what's going on. There's some weird glitch if I don't open it up from scratch. There we go. Okay, I got the neon Persian up.
Yeah, let's see if it'll play.
It's playing. Is there music behind this or?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's playing. Flickering.
Oh yeah, I see it. Okay, yeah, there it goes. Oh, I forgot I'm on a little delay. Yeah, so like those were in Japanese. So because you obviously like neon is always associated like with Japan. So I kind of made it like grungy looking. But yeah, that was gonna be a secondary NFT series, a little special edition of neons, IsoPet neons.
All right, hang on. I'm bringing up the Maine Coon. Come on. Where are you? All right, I got the Maine Coon.
And look, there's a rabbit, dude. I got a custom rabbit in there, man. Ain't nobody got a rabbit. So
that's right.
That's the only dog cat.
I think we need to bump it up to 102.
So yeah, technically there's 102 out there.
Now I have the German Shepherd Neon.
Yeah, and the German Shepherd Neon is the sign that I have coming next.
I can't zoom in on these. Shit. Okay.
Yeah, you can't zoom in on this. That's all right. You can still see pretty decent.
Okay. What else do I got? Okay, so that is the folder. The Dalmatian, but I think we talked.
Yeah, look on. I sent you a check your signal. I sent you a link.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm just gonna go through these guys real quick and close them out. So essentially, all of these guys, it would be a card collection. Too.
I mean, it is. You know,
All right. Okay. This is the other folder. Let me download this. Okay. Let me open this up. All right. Okay. Let's see if these guys open. Perfect. Look at that. Okay. I got the Bull Terrier up.
okay, yeah. So you can see, like, those are the ones that I have not shown, that have never been put anywhere online or anything.
Now, question. Did you create these guys?
Yeah. Because once I had the format designed and what they were going to look like, then it was easy for me to like recreate based off just the styling of knowing exactly what they were going to look like.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Once you have the style of one.
Yeah, once I had the
Right.
angle set, I worked with the game designer and like had the angle set, what kind of like his shading style. Like that's what I couldn't kind of get, like what would the shading style look like? What would the pattern? And then once we got that set, then I was like, okay, now I know exactly how I need to design these things, and then started designing them from there. Yeah, like there's the Dalmatian. And like that, those were NFT cards. That little card right there was going to come with your NFT purchase. You'd get a freaking like printable card. Those are going to be your certificates of authenticity. Those are going to be that one right there. The cats. Those are going to be special edition posters that I made. And if you like cats, you know, boom, it'd be like a series of some of the different cats. And I was going to have 3 series of cats and 3 series of dogs, and then one that was cats and dogs. And then one poster that had all 101 of the IsoPets on them.
All right, I got. Hang on, I'm bringing up special pets.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I can see.
Okay. All right, so this one has the cats and dogs on it. FFA member card. I have your member card up.
Yeah, the FFA member card. That's so those are the access cards that if you're a member of the animal shelter, those are your access cards that you can get because it's open 24 hours a day. And so if you're a volunteer, you have volunteer cards and staff cards. So those are your ID cards that'll open up access to the different areas and stuff that you can get into. So
okay, I have the Havanese is up.
yeah, so you can see those are all like the kind of ones that have not been put out anywhere. Nobody's really seen those.
Let's see. I'm bringing up the Japanese chin. I feel
Like,
like
and I just see those, man. I just envision like what they're gonna look like with the animated characters, man. They're gonna be like they're kind of like I like them because they're kind of like a mix of like, yeah, I mean the Lego dude, the Lego fucking movies, like those are so popular,
Right.
and these are kind of like a mix of like Lego styling, but organic styling at the same time. It's like a kind of a hybrid mix of that. That's what I love about it. So you still kind of get that blocky isometric, but it's still got a little bit more, you know, it's still got more soft edges than you see with a fucking Lego. You know, it's like this kind of cool mix between the two.
Bringing up the Pomeranian.
And it was interesting, man, just going through like seeing all the breeds, like, you know, like when I was selecting the breeds, it's like, man, look at all these fucking breeds. Like, you know, it's like I already knew, there's a lot of breeds, but actually like going in, you're like analyzing all the breeds. Like some breeds, animals that like they all look the same. You know, like there's like 2 variations of them in terms of like their coat styling and things like that. You know, or then you get like an American short hair cat got like 15 different coat styles that they could be in.
In the cartoon, is there a grumpy old man who chases the dogs off the lawn?
We can put you in there. We can absolutely put you in there. Not a problem. I actually might do that. That'd be kind of funny. That's what I'll get you. I'll put you in an episode since you came up with the chess set idea. I'll make you a little special edition character in there.
You got to have all the cats and dogs looking at the lawn like it's the promised land.
That's what they'll be like,
I just want to go over there and sniff it one time.
right.
They let them all sit and watch
They'll all talk and be like,
until I
"We're gonna go and,
leave.
Like, man, this guy's lawn. Have you seen this guy's lawn?" Like, yeah, like part of the episode. Yeah, man, we saw it too. And like that actually be kind of funny. Like that's the thing. The cartoon's gonna be like, you know, how Pixar movies are for kids, but
Right.
they have shitloads of adult humor in them
Right,
that
right.
kids don't understand. That's exactly how this cartoon will be made. It'll be very stylish, like Pixar, where it's totally for kids, but fucking adults will be laughing their ass off because there's tons of adult humor that kids just won't get unless you were an adult, you know?
It's cool seeing all of them now. I haven't seen any. Oh, look
Yeah,
at
yeah. Nobody's seen, like,
look at
literally
the
nobody's seen
fucking
these.
Poodle. The poodle's cool looking. Yeah. Okay, I'm bringing up the Weimaraner.
Oh, yeah, Weimaraner.
All right. Okay, I think that's the whip folder. That's all of them.
Okay, okay. Now go into the folder. What do we have left? Oh yeah, go into the collabs, man.
Yeah, I think that's you should.
Yeah, go to the collabs because,
I
dude,
think you
that's
got a
one thing,
collab
like,
right behind you, hanging on the wall, right?
yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Like that's from Hardware Coco, man. Dude, I love doing the collabs with fucking some of the artists, the NFT artists out there, man. So much fun. Like, love seeing what they do with their style, taking the isometric my base style and then letting them go to fucking town with their style on top of it is so much fun. Like, here, I'll show you one. Like here, like this is the one I got from Zapata, dude. Like that I printed on metal. That came out freaking awesome. Like his street graffiti style, like love that thing. Got it printed on metal. Like that's gonna be one that I put on the merchandise. Like you'll be able to buy a shirt that's got his style of IsoPet on it.
Okay, I got Wolverine up.
Yeah, that was with the Wolverine. That was with it's actually Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine. That's with Steve from freaking NF Creeps, man. Like that was a fun doing one with him, man.
Wolverine, that's funny.
I designed the background and he did his I came up with the concept of the name and then he did the his style of NFC Creeps for the I'll have like some cool limited edition ones that I do, like yeah, I'm gonna read the background story for that one.
Okay, I think this is the one that's behind you, right?
No. Oh wait, unless I haven't seen it yet.
Give it 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, Bingalometric. That's from Sahara Rococo, man. My favorite isometric artist in the NFTs. She's my fave. Sounds like I had her do I'm gonna have her do another custom one. Like that one came out so freaking good. Loved it.
I got Main Carnage up.
Yeah, Main Carnage. Yeah, that's another one from Creepy Steve that came out awesome. Like, yeah, I'd like certain artists out there that I saw. I was like, man, just I knew they would make freaking badass versions of IsoPets, man. That one I still need to design the background of. I've got some of it done, but I need to finish that up.
That's not Venom. That's
yeah, Carnage.
Carnage, right.
That's why the cat's, instead of a Maine Coon, Maine Carnage is the cat's name.
And okay, last but not least, Zapata. I want to get a signature in. Yeah, I got a signature in there. So, okay, you guys, you has been on the show. Yeah. All right. There's you, Zapata.
Yeah, it's like love seeing all the different styles from some of these artists, man. They come out so freaking, just cool, unique.
You need a IsoPet gallery.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. Well, that's one thing, like, dude, that's one thing I'm going to do in the animal shelter. In the lobby, there's going to be a massive digital fucking wall of all the NFT art of all the freaking cat and dog art that I've collected for NFTs. I own fucking hundreds of NFT NFTs of cats and dog art. So I'll have like all that stuff on a badass huge digital art wall, so people can appreciate some art while they're in the animal shelter, getting their favorite animal, hopefully adopting their favorite pet. That's the goal, at least.
Okay, we got not concepts. We got FFA. No, we showed that. We got
Yeah,
whip.
I think you showed them all.
We got the whip folder left. That's it.
Yeah, you already did whip. I sent you those.
Okay.
Those are the ones that nobody else.
This folder was empty. That's why.
It was. That's why I had to send you another. Send it to you because I forgot it.
All right. Is this like top secret stuff I gotta delete before it blows up my computer?
I got a timer on it, so you don't have to worry about that. It's going to corrupt itself later.
All right, let me. Did we show them everything? Maybe we. No,
Yeah, man, that pretty much covers except besides like some of the original artwork that I've got here, which I already showed some of it before, but like some of the freaking like original like sketches that were on paper that I was just playing around with.
Okay. Here comes that famous moment where I say, "How do they find you? Follow you?" Yeah. How do they follow? Okay. Why don't you tell them how they follow the project?
IsoPets.net, man. IsoPets.net, which is on. Well, you can find just on my profile. It's on there. At IsoPets on Twitter, which I haven't posted really much stuff on there, but that's where stuff will be being posted besides the YouTube channel and things like that. And I would say it's on. I do have the OpenSea link on my link tree that's on my profile on X.
Hang on. I'm bringing up IsoPets.net. That's a cool little intro right there. I'm all jumping.
Oh yeah, if you want to bring the website up, yeah.
Yeah. So the website isopets.net is where anybody can check out the project. Not only the project, but you seem to have incorporated the IsoPets marketplace. The design of the shelter here, is that correct?
Yep, that's the shelter in there. So yeah, people know. So that's the thing, so people know that they're contributing to freaking, when you're buying an IsoPet,
Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
You're not just buying a fucking toy. You're contributing to a master plan for a badass animal shelter system. It's not just an animal shelter. It's an entire system that's in place. And so that's what your money's going toward.
Okay, and then I also wanted to bring up your X page, and then hang on, let me bring up the gram too.
That's right. Yeah, I do have my Instagram page, the IsoPets on Instagram. Yeah, I have no doubt, man. This project's gonna be huge whenever I launch it out there and into the mainstream. So
Look at them. Here they all are. Look at all these guys.
Oh, you guys use the Pata. Love his art.
You gotta get look at all these guys.
Yeah, you can see they still got ether pets on them before I changed them over to IsoPet.
Oh, ether pets.
Yeah.
Pets. Yeah, I got what ether rocks. Okay, so I could flip through this towards the end.
These are the other ones that are not in the thing. So yeah, if you want to see all the other,
I'll bring these up and flip through them when we close out on the last song. So here is your X page, the IsoPets, and then here is your gram, and then your web page, which is isopets.net. Okay, isopets.net, IsoPets. X and IsoPets Grand. So plenty of places to reach out and find you and contact you. Okay. Good. I think did we cover everything? I think.
Yeah, man, we wrapped it like, man, how about that? Like literally on the money, on the dot, 9:56. Like
I'm good at this shit, right?
Like perfect timing. Like that's it. We went through the whole project, dude. Everything about it.
All right, let me
Now it's a matter of execution. That's it.
And look at that, perfect timing. Let me get back here. I gotta switch the camera battery. For my high tech studio that we switch camera batteries in. Okay. All right. I like doing projects. I think projects are a good topic for a show. I like getting into projects. I wish I could get all those other guys to come on. Okay, let's let me throw that in the charger. Okay, we're back. I think video's back. Everything's back. All right, now we got everything back. Let's put everything back together. Okay. All right. No, let me switch the camera so you can see me. Switch the webcam. Sony. All right, back. All right, let's close this out. Okay. Okay. All right, Josh. Look at that. 2 hours on the dot. 2 hour project coverage. Went over everything from how the project was born, what the project represents, not only what the project represents, but I looked at the artwork, listened to the concepts behind everything, and then everything that you have planned for the project, how it integrates with the cat shelter, the cat and dog shelter. And so interesting because last time we spoke, right, I don't think IsoPets had a person. Well, it had an identity, but it
didn't have all this stuff. I just never talked about it. That's the thing. Like nobody's ever. I never gone except for my friends, like a couple of people, and nobody knew the entire scope of what IsoPets entails. You know, from start to finish. You know, there's a shitload of stuff that's involved with it in the master plan and scheme. What this thing is going to do. You know, the biggest thing is being retail with the plush toys. And then making an entire cartoon series based off that. And then what is the purpose of that? You know, not just to make that stuff, but to get kids involved in animal shelter systems. You know, and that's the ultimate goal of what those are designed to do.
I'll just bringing this up, make sure we're all good. Okay. Okay, so how we want to end this? I think we want to end this on some. We always try to end these things on some inspiration, right? Had a chance to cover the whole project, look at everything, and I know there's inspiration here because I remember the first time I was in the Mongoose Club. And you came charging in, and you were just like, I don't need anybody's money. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I got IsoPets. So that was the first time I was introduced to IsoPets.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Right? And that's how I got to know you. And then we started talking behind the scenes. And then, interesting, 4 years later, you finally talk about the project. And so much more now. It seems like the vision of the project is much more solidified than it was 4 years ago.
100%.
Even though the ideas were there.
Yeah, the idea is like originally it was just going to be NFTs. I mean, I knew I'd make a plush toy, but now it's like a cartoon, exactly what the storyline behind the IsoPets are. Not just they're just plush toys. Like, what's the story behind it and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, so now it's a concrete, 100%. Brand, and it's just being executed at this point in time.
Yeah, your exposure to the NFT world and PFP projects and NFT projects from the last 4 years have inspired you and inspired your project. I just knowing through being friends with you and talking behind the scenes. I think it's. In a way, NFTs is what created the project. I knew I was going to make something that was going to be to get people involved in it, but I had IsoPets. Honestly, I don't think it existed until I got into the NFT space, and I was like, I need to come up with a fucking project
like that'll help get people involved in the animal shelter. And then I started working on the entire brand, and it was like Ether Pets, because I knew Ether Rock, and I was like Ether Pets. And then I was like, yeah, that's not gonna. I knew I wanted to go retail with it, and I knew Ether Pets would not. People would be like, what the fuck is an Ether Pet, And so I was like, and that's when I switched it from which you kind of saw the original Ether Pet, which I never changed it on Instagram, and then it evolved to IsoPets, because they're isometric pets in the designs, things like that. So yeah, in a way, the NFT project got everything a fire lit under that, and got the gears turning to get the project going, get the branding solidified, build a trademark system, a brand that could be trademarked, and then brought to actual retail and all that kind of good stuff. So.
And not only that, but we'll fund the main
And
project.
that money will be all just money that helps keeps the gears turning, essentially.
Okay. So before we say goodnight, which the routine because you watched enough shows, you gotta leave us with some inspirational shit. So
hey, get off your ass and do something, man. The thing is, take shots, take chances. That's the thing you want to do in life. If you could. There's a lot of people that I always say that they want to be entrepreneurs, and they want to they want to do this, and they just never start. It's never too late to start and actually get something done. And the thing about it is the NFT space, which is a very awesome space, is that it's not like the real world, or I should say it's its own little world, because what's cool about the NFT space is that people are willing to partner with you, and it's so easy to find people that are with common goals and we're willing to want to partner with you and do something. And you can find like-minded people, that they love the digital space and the art and things like that. So versus when you're out in the Web 2 world, as they say, you just got to go hire somebody to go do it. You're just paying somebody to make the stuff. Like, you don't have somebody who's like, I want to work with you. And like, you don't find a fucking group of people that are like, I want to come together in a community and freaking like work on stuff. Like, some of the coolest people I've met have been from launching the Echo coin. Even though the meme coin got blown up just like every other fucking meme coin does, the people I met in the meme coin, dude, I have a few people in there that I'll be friends with for years. Like they're lifetime friends now. And so it's a unique space to really
and there's still an opportunity for it to become a stable coin as well.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it may be down now, but as the animal shelter grows, who fucking knows? People actually might start buying the coin, and like, 10 years down the road, fucking Echo coin and IsoPets are actually worth a shitload of money. Who knows? But it's out there, and it's a cool ecosystem to get involved, and people out there to help motivate and rally you. That's the one good thing that is very cool about this space. I'm a self-motivated type of person, but but from just knowing people's psychology, the NFT space is a great place. Web3 is a great place to find people that will help motivate you to want to get you to start that project and get going. And it's like a little art projects. Taking baby steps is a great tool. Starting a little art project is a gateway to fucking expansion, to doing more things with it. And it's like taking that first little step. You don't have to like go out there like I'm doing and be like, I'm going straight to retail, straight to fucking cartoon. I'm going to spend a fucking $250,000 on all this stuff. It's like, you can just start with such a small idea and a concept, and like gain a whole bunch of people that are interested in it and that want to build a community around it. And then I hope you do some of the work to get it out there. So it's like, no, it's never too late to start. And the cool thing that I've seen about this place is there's a lot of older people like us, dude, that are in this space building projects from the ground up. That they've had ideas and that like they started going and got things going in the NFT space that they probably never would have done in Web 2. Like, that's too late. I don't want to do that. It's a very encouraging place for people to want to get involved and do good things. And so it's a great place to kind of like get your initial idea out there and just see what happens with it. So that's my inspiration. Get out there and get her done. Get her done.
Yeah, that's some good shit, because everything you said is 100% accurate. Spaces, you will find the NFT community in
100%, man. It's like you can get into a space and just go out there and talk to people, and you fucking be like, yo, throw a shout out, like, anybody interested in want to, and people be like willing to help. It's like there's so like you just don't get that in the real world, man. You don't. I've been doing this for 30 fucking plus years. I know, because That's why I know so much stuff in the beginning. I couldn't hire people. It's like trying to find people that are like-minded. Unless you were like in university or like college in the art department, you know, and you found people that were like, okay, yeah, it's extremely difficult. Or you got to just go put your own money out there and pay for it. Like that, this whole NFT ecosystem in Web3, man, is a very unique place and a very good place to start a project. Get the motivation going, man. Like once you get the gears going and get those few things going out there, then you're like, okay, I see what this can do, man. I see, like, you see progress happen, and it makes you want to make more progress. And that's what it starts. It starts with the little thing. And even if it doesn't succeed, you know, it's just like the NFTs. It started as an NFT project, and I was like, I got to make an NFT project like everybody else, you know. And now, even though I knew it was going to be something bigger, it was like, okay, I'm going to shift and do this. And now it's expanded to actually what it's really going to truly be in the real world. But it all came, NFT is what got it started. You know, NFT is what kicked the gears. It made me be like, because yeah, would I've done it eventually? Probably yes, but it may be in a couple of years when the animal shelter is actually built when I started doing it. You know, the NFT space is what got me doing it 4 years ago, and be like, let's start on it now. And I'm glad it did. You know, because now I'm ahead of the game, and it's actually it's better that I started this 4 years ago. And now where I'm at, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, the people are there the entire time. The same group of people are always there. You can always turn to these people for motivation and the spaces. It's a great fucking place to get motivated, to want to get shit done. If you need that little extra, you're not self-motivated, and you're not, you know, sometimes you're just like, I don't got that. You know, you can't find a really better place that exists as far as I'm concerned, where you're going to get across a bunch of people that are pumped up and are willing to cheer you on, you know, and fucking give you that little bit of extra boost to be like, yeah, let's fucking do it. You know, even if that's not what happened with IsoPets, it's still, what I've seen in this space, man, like there's not many places that exist.
Very extremely supportive space.
It is, man. It's just something that does, you know, for all the shit that meme coins are and the fucking rugs and all that stuff, man, you take that out the equation and you just look at the root pool of the people out there, man. There's some cool people out there that from all walks of fucking life that are willing to fucking cheer you on, help you out, just be fucking just chill and cool, you know. And it's like, you just can't find that in the normal space out there in the Web2 space, you know. I know for a fact. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been somebody who's been like, man, I wish I could find people that are like-minded. And yeah, you can go to maker spaces, and you know, it's hard to find people that want to do things with art-related stuff. That's the key. Like, I can go to a maker space and go find somebody who's like, okay, yeah, dude, fucking Echo Pet Tracker, that's badass. Like, that's hardware related. I could go get some fucking cool designers for electronics who'd want to like work with me on this. But if you're like in the art space, man, dude, it doesn't exist. NFT and Web3 is where it's at. And you can just get the pool of people that are there, the community that's there, doesn't get any better.
I agree. I don't know if you were that Rama's show, Rama and Tara's show today.
Oh, yeah.
There was a part where I was talking about in the beginning when I first 2021, everybody's like, well, when are you launching? When are you posting? When are you launch? And I'm like, it took almost 4 years for me to see, all right, Tezos, AVAX, Bitcoin, Ether, and Solana. 1 collection, 2 collections, 3 collections, 4 collections, 5 collections. This collection is going to be for a magazine with graffiti. This collection is going to represent the reef prints. This collection is going to represent Question Mark and the studio. This collection is going to represent HOP. So, you know, if you would have asked me that a year into NFTs, I'd have been like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know where I'm posting. I don't know what's going where. I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is I'm really confused because things come up, things go down. I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out where to put these collections.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Right? And it took a long fucking time for me to figure out, you know, what's going where. But I mean, you know, you're around, you start to see what's sticking, what's not sticking.
Yeah, that's right. You can learn a lot from other people's failures, and just like in real life, but you can really learn from this space and the art space of what clicks, what's, you know, and all that kind of good stuff. So absolutely a great space to, if you're an art related, anywhere in the art realm, man, it doesn't get any better than fucking Web3 and NFTs.
Yeah, very. A lot of I've met super inspirational, super supportive. I've gotten a lot of messages, bro. If you need help, if you this comments, just
Yeah.
yeah. So people are very when they people feed off passion. People feed off that
Right.
passion.
That's right.
Okay, one last question. Closeout song.
Already on your signal.
Okay. All right. I'm going to close out the show. You don't have to go nowhere. You can hang around. It's going to take me 2 minutes.
That's cool.
And then we'll play the track. I'll play some IG. You'll say goodbye. And then you'll get to snap a picture of me passed out in front of the computer like in 10 minutes. Let me close out. I'll be right back. Hang on. All right. All right, guys. So that is let me bring the mixture. Okay. So, all right, guys, that was a chance to, Josh hasn't been on in a while. Nice little brief update show. Talk about, I said, I had a last minute cancellation. I said, you got anybody off the top of your head think could make a great guest? And he's like, IsoPets. And I'm like, no, actually, honestly, he said, Creepy Steve. I get an update from him with Tops. And he's just like, IsoPets. And I'm like, we got one more artist from FCW. And then we'll have Steve close out the whole FCW crew. So we got Danny Be Getting It coming on soon. And then Steve's going to come up for a closeout show. And so I thought Josh would make a great catch-up show. And he's like, IsoPets, and he's been put a lot of work into this project. So I think it was time to put some focus and some spotlight on this project. For anybody that knows, if an animal walks by this house, it will get yanked into this house and saved. So, any opportunity I have to save a wild or a homeless animal, I will take that opportunity to bring them in. So you guys know how I feel about animals, so I'm very supportive of anything when it comes to advancing the culture. Is that the right word? Advancing the pet culture. I think that the fact that there are a lot of people out there who have animals and how high the cost of caring for these animals, very frustrating at times. A lot of people, I would imagine that if I would go out on a limb and say this without knowing the statistics, because I hate speaking without knowing statistics. Matter of fact, a better way of saying this is it wouldn't surprise me if the number one reason why you put your pet to sleep is because you cannot afford the alternative saving. A lot of times I'm sure there are opportunities where you have a chance to save your animal, and the operation is probably, or if there's any opportunity to save the animal, whether it's through medication or a surgery, a lot of times people will opt to put the animal down because it's just cheaper. And I think that's terrible. That sometimes is the only solution. There should be a much bigger, these are animals. They don't have the ability to get insurance and save themselves or go see a pet doctor, especially when an animal's sick. The only options there are for an animal that's sick is die or be saved by some kind of, somebody comes by and saves the animal. However, I think due to the internet and the fact that we now have seen, like Josh has said on the show, people have become, they have saved raccoons and possums, and you see all these different videos. My rabbits have come from meat rabbit breeders, and I've saved rabbits from the park where people use them as Easter gimmicks and then threw them away in the park where they would have never lived. So animals are very precious to me. So this was an important show. And so Josh came through. He had IsoPets, and it seemed like it made a perfect show for tonight. Okay. What else? Tomorrow, sketch 9 to 11. Linked by Art. We will have the Linked by Art space. Me, Sketch, and Shira are hosts. And that will be tomorrow from 9 to 11. And Sketch is very, she's very we got to end at 11. So we only got 2 hours. So see everybody tomorrow. There's no community shows. We are presently working on a cat community show, me and Josh. So when that happens, right now the community shows taking a break from them. So when we come across a new community, we will be back. And so we'll be doing them here and there until Super Community 7. The end of the week, we have Alex. Alex will be on, photographer, on Friday. Our Friday shows are back. And he'll be tuning in. He was supposed to be on this Friday, but I made a mistake, and I didn't realize it. I was on vacation. Literally on vacation because I forgot about the show. So big apologies to Alex, but we will be seeing him on Friday. Excuse me, we'll be seeing him on Friday. And then, of course, see everybody with TGIF. Hopefully my co-host will be back, Son and Alina. If not, TGIF will still be rolling forward. So that's the weekend schedules. We're planning the shows at NFT NYC right now. I had a chance to speak to Chaz earlier today. And so we're trying to figure out the shows at NFT. So I will be letting all the guests and everybody know where we'll be at NFT NYC to prepare for that show. Would love for all the artists to come by and say hello. And so that's what's happening, aside from all of my collections that are floating around that will eventually start getting posted. But we'll save that for another time because, like people found out today in Rama's space, I don't like to talk about my shit. I just like to post it and let everybody else find it when they do. And big shout out to Rama and Tara for the interview today. It was a great interview. It was a long interview. It was 4 hours. Learning Orbit, hosted by Ramazo and Tara. So those guys did a great job. They made me feel at home. I'm very weary when it comes to speaking, but if I feel good about the people who are producing it, I will jump on. So I'm a big fan of those guys. I love their show, and big shout out and thank you for them having me on their show. All right, guys. On that note, we'll bring Josh up to say goodbye, and we will do an outro track, and we will flick through these last little guys of that we did not get to see on IG. So let's bring up the full screen. And we'll bring up the vert screen, right? And all right, you're back on, so heads up. And then let's bring on a track. Where is this track? Oh no, what am I thinking? I'm thinking you send DMs. No, here we go. Lettuce King, got it. All right. We got the track ready. Let's bring up your IG. All right, Josh. Anything you want to say goodnight to everybody? Give them one last wave.
Adios, man. Until the next episode, which will be on what my real career has been for 30 years.
We waited.
Covered everything except what I do for a living.
We waited. We saved the best. Well, we want to.
Right.
It's like a game.
That'd be one long ass episode, man. That's for damn sure. It'd be a hell of a lot longer than 2 hours going for that.
You're gonna have a box set of HOPs, like
yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
like Lord of the Rings. Get to know.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll get to know Josh, Volume 1. All right, I'm gonna bring up these IG animals, and we will see everybody on the next one. All right, let's go. Let's bring these guys up. Let's get this music playing, and let's move this over. If we open up this full vert, Yeah, if we open this full vert, I'm going to have to move everything back. All right, y'all. We will see you on the next one. Thank you for being part of this one. If I got to do any shout outs, let me see if anybody's out there really quick. It's just me and Josh and X. Very quiet out there. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Facebook. We had some activity. Let me, where are you, Facebook? We did. Let me get back to over here, the gram. Okay, here we are. Hudasaka. What's up, Hudasaka? Thank you for jumping in and being part of the show. Big Money over on the book. Thank you for being part of the show. I'm a little disorganized at the moment. Here we go. There we go. Big Money, thank you for checking in. Good to see you out there. Happy birthday. Happy 50th. Great time in AC. Thank you for the invite. A little unexpected few days in AC, but had a great time. So, and thank you for always being supportive of the HOP. From the very beginning, Big Money, I talked about you today during the show, and I said there was always this one guy who sat in HOP and kept me, keep going. So this is how we got here 9 years later. Hudasaka, thank you for tuning in. Romano, looking forward to seeing you guys at NFT NYC. Good vibes back. Nalia, good to see you. Maggot, good to see you. Anthony, good to see you. We should do a feature with you and your photography. Seendorf, good to see you. Thank you for checking in. Zach, the Donna Divas, Photoshop Universe, and Dilla Baru. Thank you for joining in. Thank you. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Anybody on X? No, we got nobody on it. Okay. All right, guys. We will see you on the next show. Until then. And that was an aggressively inspirational show. See everybody on the next one. Peace.